What's up, guys? The red light is on. Fight Bananas, the Dave Van Auken Show. Super pumped, I've been going back and forth trying to get Daniel, Mr. Wyatt Earp on the podcast. Oh, man, how are you?
I'm good, David. How are you?
Good, man. Good. It was, Jacob Kilburn. I know he went to Tallahassee. He's like, I wanted to be in the Daniel's corner, and you're doing your thing, getting another win. You don't know how to lose professionally. I love that as a fan. But he was like, man, dude, he's a great guy. You should talk to him. And then I kind of started following you. I'm like, dude, seems like a good dude, fun dude. First and foremost, before we get into fight shit, dude, a couple days ago, it seemed like you were having a great time out there with ATT guys, Vanderford, Paige Van Zandt. I see shots going off. I see sweat. What's going on, dude? What's happening?
I actually ran into them the other night, and I mean, me being me, when I saw Austin, I was like, oh, well, I hope you like tequila. So it was only right that I ordered 10 tequila shots right off the bat.
Dude. Yeah, like I said, I'm traveling down south soon, man. I might have to do like an overnight. If you're getting 10 tequila shots, might be an overnight, bro.
I mean, there was only 6 of us, so I mean, I took 4 of them.
I love that, man. Dude, are they going to ask you to come on that little PJ, the private jet, and you're going to be a part of AEW? I see that they're doing that American Top Team, Lambert, Kayla Harrison, like they're going to get the whole gym down there.
Man, maybe if I get in the PFL and win $1 million, I mean, I think I'd be invited.
Very cool. Okay, well, you started there. Actually, I love that. Let me been something I've been really talking about a lot. It's just kind of more of a generic, broad thing. Before probably you getting into it, right? Or just before turning pro and all this stuff, the PFL didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like it's a new platform, a new organization. It's always been the UFC's the big guy, the company, and kind of the aspirations that a lot of fighters want to go to. But just kind of a year from now, if the PFL comes around and goes, hey, we'll give you $1 million shot. We'll get you 15 and 15. Like we'll get you some big money fights, all that. Are you 100% okay? Yeah, I'll do Bellator. I'll do one. I'll do PFL. Are you just really open to see what happens for your future?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The fact that PFL also just had a few events at the Hard Rock, right in Hollywood.
Yeah,
count me in.
Yeah, and seems like they a lot of with Kayla being probably the face of the organization. Seems like they have a lot of ATT ties, and then like you said, the gym's right there, and you see the crowd. It's nothing but American Top Team guys. It's and girls. You know what I mean? Amanda's there and all that stuff. Just seems like it's a little bit of a takeover.
It really is. When you see the trophy cases in there, I mean, we have Natan Schultz 2 times, Magomed Karimov, Philippe Lins, Kayla has a belt in there, and now I think we have like 5 people in the final, 4 or 5 people in the finals this year. So I mean, they know.
Yeah, that's Wednesday, October 27th. That Wednesday, I'm gonna try to make that trip. I got a couple. I think next week I'm booked. The week after that I'm booked, but I'm definitely, hopefully at the end of October, I definitely want to go to that, especially the finals, probably the Kayla Harrison, another championship match. I'm just a huge fan of her. How did you get to American Top Team? Tell me that process, that transition. Where did you start training? Tell me, were you always wanted to train at ATT? Was that a goal of yours, or how did that come to be?
Funny story. I have been with American Top Team for over 10 years.
Oh, I lost your sound.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I hear you.
Okay, sorry. So I started at American Top Team Davie with Rodrigo Baga Ramos. I was 14. I started 2-week trial, and I went in after the first night. My dad goes, I signed you up for a year.
Wow.
That slowly branched into American Top Team Weston. And then, so I was training at both of those, and then went away for school for a little bit. And when I came back home, I started at Coconut Creek as an amateur. I had 4 fights before I went to college. And I came back, and man, I walked into Creek's doors, and when you see that giant logo right there, it was surreal.
It is. I've probably been there 3-4 times, and I've been to probably over 50 gyms, 30 different states. And it's just, there's nothing like American Top Team. There just really isn't. That logo, that big middle mat, and then, of course, the octagon to the right. You got all these banners. You got the Masvidal picture now is up. It's just nothing like it, man. It's a beautiful place. Like the technology and the sauna and all that. It's an incredible place. Okay, so at 14, I'm really intrigued with this because a lot of the people I talk to, a lot of the fighters are like, I played football and didn't know what else to do. And I watched, one fight. I watched, Lyoto Machida win the title and got me into it. Like, you at 14, like, were you a fan from the get-go? Were you like old school Matt Hughes? You're like, dude, I'm going to do this.
So I was, my favorite fighter when I was younger was Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock.
My dad loved Ken Shamrock. He loved MMA, and we would go to this place called Geronimo's in Davie, Florida. It would show the fights. I was so young. I played baseball. I was very good at baseball, but watching the people in the cage, I was like, man, this looks sick. Like, I couldn't imagine being there one day. And then went in, I did like a grappling class, and I was like, oh man, this is actually really cool. I think I got beat up by like a 10-year-old that tapped me out a couple times. I was like, all right, well, I'm coming back for him.
Yeah, it's very humble, man. This sport will humble the shit out of you. Baseball, what position? Shortstop?
Good call. Shortstop and pitcher.
Yeah. That's where the studs play, dude.
Good call.
Yeah. All right, so American Top Team, Florida. Okay, now you're a 2-0 pro. When did you know all the amateur fights? Like I always say, it's kind of like a marriage. As soon as you find that one, you kind of know when to turn pro. You kind of know it. You've had 2 wins over the last kind of 5-6 months. When was that feeling? You're like, hey, I'm going to go pro. There's no coming back from it now. These wins are very meaningful to especially try to get into the UFC or PFL. When was that moment that you knew you were ready to be in the professional limelight?
After my last amateur fight, I would say my coaches, it was their decision as well, because I was thinking, maybe I'll stay amateur for one more. And they were all pushing me. They were like, no, Daniel, like, you're ready. And I felt ready because my last fight as an amateur under Combat Night was my original opponent had pulled out, and I fought a guy, no joke, David. They asked me if I'd meet at 165. I was like, yeah, absolutely, because it was supposed to be a lightweight fight.
Yeah. I
think I weighed in like 160. And this guy that I fought, no joke, he looked like a middle linebacker. Yeah. And I was like, wow, like, and he got bigger once I got closer. So, and then the next day, fight day, he probably packed on about 15 to 20 pounds. I walked in there 165.
Right.
And I just handled him like easily, took him down. I finished him in like a minute. And I think it was like a minute 50, something like that. I'm not a fan of going past 2 minutes.
There's a lot of jokes there, but we'll let them slide, all right? We'll let them slide. That's crazy. And especially like you said, the fight game more than anything, short notice fights, change up opponents. It's like you have to be on the fly. So that's very mature of you to take the fight, take it against a bigger guy, take it against, a different weight class. I think, like you said, the coaches are like, yeah, he's ready. Wyatt's ready to go up.
Yes, sir.
2-0 as a pro. Anything as being a professional, been different at all? Or do you feel any more pressure? Is it more fun? Is it like you're getting a little, maybe a check for it? It's getting closer to your dream. What does it feel like to be now a 2-0 pro?
Closer to the dream, definitely.
Right. But
the check helps, but it's like I've got more, like motivation when I'm in the gym. Right. Like amateur, that's a learning experience, but now it's like this is for life. And getting those, I'm waking up every morning knowing like let's say I have a third fight, I know that if I win this third fight, I'm going closer to my goal of what I pictured when I was 14 years old, Right. So it's very easy to wake up every morning and be motivated.
Absolutely. Like, especially, like I said, I don't miss anything. You know what I'm saying? Like Titan FC on UFC Fight Pass and Icon Fighting Federation, bare knuckle, Bellator. Like I don't miss anything, but especially the UFC, of course. But my favorite 2 hours, if you said, hey, Dave, you only got 2 hours this week. I got a big family. I'm a family guy. If you only got 2 hours, I'm a Contender Series guy. It's my favorite concept, my favorite show. I love this connection of I always say it's the Super Bowl and the NFL draft in one night. Like it's the biggest fight of your career, but you can then get drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs and be, ready in the NFL. It's so wild to me. And Dana White being there and Laura Sanko's a freaking champ. I love the show. And with you at ATT and those ties, they've had a lot of people. You're probably, I hate saying this, you might be 2-3 away. And especially if you get one more fight at the end of the year. Are you trying to get one more at the end of this year?
Shit, let's rack up 2.
2. My guy. Let's get 2. Let's get 2. 2 short notices. You got to feel good. You're close. So you got to feel good. You might be a year away, 10 months away from the Contender.
No, absolutely. That's the way I look at it. And
right.
Because I think my first fight was in April, and I told them I told Combat Night, I was like, hey, if you guys need me in June, if you guys need me in July, I'm ready. Right. Because now that I know, because I fight 145, now that I know I can make 145 as easy as I can, you give me 5 days notice and let's go.
Really?
Yeah.
That is such an advantage for a fighter because there's a lot of guys that can't do that, guys or girls. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that can't make that cut. And then especially with you having experience at 155, even if you got to take, a 2-day notice against maybe a 4-4 guy at 155 to try to get through that 4th win by the end of the year, you'd probably feel comfortable at it. You've done it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that would look good. That's a good resume booster. They're like, oh, He moved up a weight class. He took this fight on short notice. Like, they're going to know I'm game.
Absolutely. Okay. UFC 266 this Saturday. Love your take. 3 major fights. Lawler and Diaz, kind of the people's main event. Shevchenko and Lauren Murphy, the co-main event. Valentina, the GOAT, flyweight of all time. And then the title match. Very, very, very close title fight. We're super into betting. The lines are close. Ortega or Volkanovski. Love your 3 picks.
Okay. I'm going with Diaz, 100%.
100%.
Nick Diaz Army.
Okay.
I'm rocking with him till the end, him and Nate.
I respect it.
I think it's going to go all 5, truthfully.
I do too.
I don't see him putting away Lawler. And he's been away for a long time. I definitely do think it's going to go all 5.
Do you think it's going to be very like showmanship? I can see those guys like almost in a way they know this is maybe the last limelight for the loser, if that makes sense. Like I feel like both guys are going to kind of go at it because the winner's going to move on and going to get another fight, like another big fight.
Yeah.
The loser, it could be really close towards the end. We're getting to that point.
I know Robbie's on a skid right now.
Yeah, 4.
So 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not looking too good.
Yeah. Okay, so you got Nick. I would assume you got Valentina. You're not going to call the crazy upset here with Lauren Murphy?
No. Okay. I think Valentina is one of those girls. If she's fighting, I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so happy you said that. Earlier on the podcast, I said the same kind of thing. Like we're witnessing history. Like one way or the other, you're witnessing her get another win, probably in some great fashion, just seeing the best of all time at the flyweight fight. Or you're going to see a Matt Serra GSP moment. You're going to see Lauren Murphy out of nowhere catch her, somehow slip, something happens. You're going to see history. So one way or another, I can't miss that fight. Can't miss it.
I think if I know how tough Lauren Murphy is, but one thing I've always noticed about her, I think if Valentina doesn't put her away, I think it's going to be like one of those doctor stoppages from all that scar tissue on Lauren's face. So that's just what I'm seeing. I'm picturing a lot of blood right now.
No, bro. Sunday morning, she's going to 4th round doctor stoppage, and then I'm going to cut this into the podcast. I'm going to put Lauren Murphy's face in. I'm going to call you Mystic Wyatt. It's going to hit, dude.
That's nice of you to think she'll make it to the 4th.
Jeez, man, come on, dude. I love Lauren Murphy, dude. She's so.
No,
dude, I'm a fan. She is. She's tough as shit. But no, she's in there against the best. You know, I understand that.
Who was her last win against? Was that Calderwood?
Yes, against JoJo. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I remember watching that fight, and I was like, wow, like Lauren Murphy's a lot tougher than I thought she was.
Right, and good motor, kind of usually more aggressive than the other girls.
Yeah.
Tough. So it's just, hey,
Matt
Serra did it. Matt Serra did it. You know,
Serra did. I mean, that was one of the biggest upsets in the world. So
right.
I mean, it's MMA. We can't rule anything out.
Exactly. Main event: Volkanovski and Ortega for the title. You know, Volkanovski beat Max Holloway twice in a row. Well, it's hard. I'm a Volk fan now with a lot of things I've heard from the tough. I talked to a couple of tough guys. They say Volk is a stud, good dude. I'm kind of leaning Volkanovski, but Ortega's one of those guys, when he's at his A+ game, no one beats him in the world. He's just that good. He's that talented of a mixed martial artist.
I agree 100%. 100%. I thought Korean Zombie was going to tear through him.
Me too.
And Ortega, did he get a performance bonus that night for a decision?
Probably. He was dominant. Like it was one of the best performances. And I think even the Zombie was a little bit of a favorite because Ortega just come off a loss, I think. And dude, Ortega looked awesome. He had to shave his head because of the weight. Everyone thought he had a horrible weight cut. It was like, oh shit, like he's fighting the Zombie, horrible weight cut, coming off a loss. It's like MMA Mass said he was going to lose, and he looked insane. He looked bananas.
No, he did bananas, literally.
He
looked good, yeah. That's a tough one, but I mean, over the years, you know, I was always upset that Holloway lost.
Me too.
But Volk's, he's grown on me, and watching the Ultimate Fighter, that was what really made me become a Volk fan. And also, I love Craig Jones, and the fact that Craig Jones was his coach on the show. Yeah. I was rocking with him all season.
Brian Pooh Bear Battle, the guy who won, he's my guy. Like, he's been on this show. I've talked to him numerous of times, and he's like, Dave, everything you see on the show, like, that was only 10% of how good Volk was. Like, he would stay extra. He would be there early. He would come for dinner. He would help with weight cuts. He would be in the sauna. Like, he did all the little shit. And, you know, nothing slight towards Ortega. And you don't have to. They're not paying them to do that. But Ortega was there for practice, did his thing, and then left. And then, you know, no sweat. But Volkanovski did the little shit. So I'm a fan. I'm really into what he did.
No, I agree 100%. Seeing that, I felt like Team Volk was a lot closer.
Yeah.
Than Ortega's team.
Yeah, 100%. So Amazon Prime, I'm going to send you one of those like camera lights that holds your phone in there. So you're going to be doing a lot more interviews in the future, bro. You got to have that done for you. That my camera don't move, man. I can box, I can slip. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, it's only my second interview I've ever done.
Hey, a lot more in the future, dude. I honestly do think that I've been watching your stuff, watching your fights. Your future's ultra bright. You got a good head on your shoulders. Seems like you've been doing this for 10 years. Like you're ahead of so many fighters. Like a lot of fighters, they come in at 24, 23 after like something else didn't work. And they kind of, I feel like, fall back on fighting, which you took to fighting. I like that about you. I'm a big fan right there. We got 5 fun questions. We call it Goin Bananas. First thing that comes to your head. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Your favorite day of the week?
Tuesday.
Outside of MMA, what's your favorite activity?
Eating.
Your favorite sports team?
Lakers.
Ooh, LeBron James. What was the teacher that was most instrumental, growing up?
Like teacher as in like school or?
Yeah.
Probably my horticulture teacher in high school.
Okay. Last one. You have 2 people to go to dinner with, dead or alive. Who you eating dinner with?
Dead or alive? Man, that's a good question. I don't know, Dave.
And we've heard so many, like a lot of people go with like an old fighter and a new one. A lot of people go with like, historic people. Some people bring family members back or just even, with a bro that you haven't seen in 4 or 5 years. A fun dinner. You're eating wings. You got tequila shots. 2 people you're chilling with.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
He was like the first person that came to mind. Stone Cold, and I'm trying to think of who would be a good time with Stone. Oh, Chris Farley.
Oh, dude. There we go. And the winner of today's challenge, everyone, is Daniel Wyatt. There you go. That's a good one, man. Imagine having dinner with Stone Cold and Chris Farley, them just yelling what at each other back and forth. What? It would be insane.
When I thought wings and pizza and alcohol, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to crack open some beers with Stone Cold. And then I was like, wait, Chris Farley's going to wear all the food with the alcohol. So,
dude, I've done Goin Bananas segments with over 100 fighters, UFC main eventers, champions. That's got to be in the top 3. That's definitely best answer. Stone Cold and Chris Farley. Daniel Wyatt, 2-0, ATT, don't know how to lose. Man, huge fan over here. Can't wait to see what's next for you. All right, brother?
Man, thank you, David.
Absolutely, man. We'll talk soon.